if those 5 minutes were not planned, the whole day is going to be fucked.
Yep.
Every day that you miss on a film set is a lot of money. And that's maybe what also goes wrong sometimes with productions in general. Like you have 300 people, they all need to go a bit more to the right. Why are they not all going to the right? Well, it's because it's 300 people. That's after the bad thing happened, like 60 extras didn't come, that the production actually realized, oh, this was actually important. We had to listen to them. When you're an AD, you're kind of working between production and the director in terms of like managing egos and sensitivities. Literally told her, I don't know what you want me to do to help you. You can make a schedule, but then shit happens.
Welcome everyone, Chris Burstein here. Some people know me as Los Cabra. This is another episode of Backstage Breakdown. Today I have a really interesting guest in front of me. Helene,
Very good.
welcome. If you need to explain what you do, what would you say?
I'm a third AD on big production. So for those who don't know, third AD is a third assistant director. And on very big production, we usually have 3. So I'm the last one.
Let's go into that.
Mm-hmm.
Why a crew or a director needs 3 assistants?
Well, you have to imagine like on, bigger shows, it's like the crew is usually around 200 people, 300 people. So obviously it's a lot of communication implied. Why do we need 3? It's basically to share this responsibility of sharing the information, because I guess I can describe what all of the ADs do. So the first assistant director is the one who's was there very early in the project, who's going to be doing the schedule, first of all, who's going to take the script and divide it into like categories and see like what every department. So for example, I don't know, you're just going to read like a civil scene. Like for example, 2 people are sitting on a chair in a studio and they're talking and for a podcast, So the assistant director is going to think, okay, so I need to make sure that, we have a studio booked for the scene for the day. How long is the talk? So maybe it's 3 pages. So it's going to be maybe, I don't know, 1 day to record it. Maybe it's going to be 2 days. How many actors do we need? We need 2. How many props do we need? Do we need glasses of water? Do we need a mic? Do we need fake cameras to pretend that we're recording? Stuff like that. So the first assistant director is going to be the one doing this breakdown. And then he's going to kind of like plan this scene into the whole schedule. So in the whole movie, which is a big work. If you think about a movie that's going to be, I don't know, an hour and a half to maybe 3 hours, or maybe it's a series. Maybe it's like, I don't know, 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours. And so that's a big job in itself. And that's also obviously going to imply a lot of, not only organization, but also a lot of money. So it's a big responsibility. So that's already a lot for a first. And it's not the only thing they do.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Now that we're talking about something like this, there's a lot of stakes in place.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of money, there's a lot of people involved, and every little mistake can cost not only time, but also a lot of money.
Yes.
When there's a situation, is it easy to see where that responsibility lays, if it's on the director, the first, second, third, and what happened when there's a delay? I don't know if you have situations in your career that you can give us an example.
I mean, delays happen all the time. The first AD is not the only person responsible for this. You also have like a whole production crew that's like also making decision on where the budget goes to and how and when. And the thing with movies is that you have a lot of, you can make a schedule, but then shit happens. So you have obviously actors that need to be available, and you have the weather, simply the weather. If you shoot a scene outside, if it's raining, you cannot do the scene, for example. Or if one day it's super gray and then the next day it's like, sunny, it's really hard to combine those things. And this happens all the time. And how to solve those problems? Well, I think as a first AD, you need to plan really well. You need to be agile in terms of, you need to bounce off a situation, but you also need to plan ahead, because it's really hard to, if you haven't planned a possibility, to kind of like, I don't know, for example, just rebook your whole crew, or change the actor's program. It's doable, but it's difficult. So you need to kind of plan ahead the possibility. And then if something happens that you haven't planned, basically you just need to sit, watch the whole schedule, and see what you can do. So I can give you an example. It happened, I shot a lot during COVID, or like I had 2 different projects. One of them was a series, and it happened then one of the actors got COVID, which, I mean, of course, was meant to happen. And this actor was in most of the scenes that we had to shoot in the next weeks. So what happened is, actually the first lady was really good because she managed to keep on going. We didn't have to shut down immediately. We had maybe an afternoon. I don't remember exactly, but I remember that we managed to do some scenes without the actor, although this actor was pretty important. But I think what's important is just to keep on going, because every day that you miss on a film set is a lot of money. You have to think you have a lot of people on payroll, and also, of course, it brings the crew down if you cannot do anything. It also did happen to me that there were days on a production where we had to stop working because one actor was not available anymore. I mean, I'm not high enough in the hierarchy to know exactly what the consequences are, but I know that it's obviously a lot of money. And depending on how big the show is and how big the budget is, sometimes, they just recover somehow from it. On other movies, it's like really difficult. So,
is it the same series that we work together some years ago?
Could be.
Could be. Because something that we also talk here is that one of the biggest things that happen on crews, it's our ego.
Yeah.
And in creative teams, when there's a lot of neurodivergent people, there's a lot of ego involved and a lot of sensitivity. And when the stakes are really high, and when the stakeholders expect a lot from us or for the teams itself, the frustration is also according to that situation.
For sure.
And when there's a high ego and there's a high frustration, how do you deal that on a crew level when there's frustration that it's nobody's fault, but it's something that is happening? And that can decant into something bigger in terms of communication.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I cannot talk about the big projects I'm working on because obviously I'm not the one dealing with the big egos. Well, maybe at my scale, but I can talk about the smaller project that I did, where obviously I worked with, directors who had very different way of working and very different egos as well. I would say that when you're an AD, you're kind of working between production and the director in terms of like managing egos and sensitivities. And my take, I mean, at least with time, I learned that I kind of, when I started, I was very production centered in terms of I need to save money, I need to, make it possible, I need to make the schedule possible. But then I realized with time that actually the director is the person actually making the movie in most cases. And this person needs to be protected. And it's actually my job as an assistant director to make sure the director gets what he wants. It's not always possible. But it's very important that the director, as a creative and as a person, feels that everybody's working in their sense, and that's usually the case. But it's not always, it's not always easy. So I learned also that I need to make it work in a way, and if I cannot make it work completely, I need to make it work on some aspects. So I think something that's really key is also to listen. And to make sure that whatever is not possible to do, I would make sure that at least I tried, and that if this is not the way, that there is like a similar path that we could take, but at least that the director feels that they are taken care of. Because actually, you don't really need to take care of the production. The production need to take care of themselves, and that's something I realized with years. And I think that was a pretty like a breakthrough for me.
But that breakthrough came through a conflict, came from something that exploded at the wrong time, at the wrong place, and then you said, this has to be this way?
I mean, it happened on a very specific project. I worked with a friend so it was like, like a no-budget type of production. we wanted to do like something between a short movie and an art project. And when we left, so it was in a forest somewhere in Germany. And when we left, I didn't have a script. I didn't have any idea what we were about to do, and I was really nervous. Actually, I hadn't worked with this friend before. I knew she was very creative, but I didn't know how it's gonna express itself, like working together. And I remember the first day being like, I have no clue what I'm doing here and why I'm here, and like, how can I help if I don't know what the script is about? And then I discovered her way of thinking, which was like kind of, she just goes with the flow kind of type of creative. So she has ideas, and then you need to make these ideas happen. And it was really difficult. You have to imagine in the middle of the forest, we have...
Sounds like the Blair Witch Project, kind of.
So basically, the place was really beautiful, and we had a few friends that were supposed to be the actors, and but no script, a few props, like kind of random. And then you're like, okay, if she gets ideas, how am I gonna get everything that needs to be there for the movie if we haven't planned it ahead? Because my job is always to plan ahead, and I couldn't plan ahead. And that's when I realized, okay, this is, you have to accept the situation, and then you have to move with it. And actually, the moment I accepted this, it was amazing. We actually had a very nice, like the quest of the film itself. Like she had ideas, I understood her ideas, and then I had to provide in terms of, I don't know, go around the village and talk to the locals, find solutions. And then she felt that she could trust me because she knew that I would make everything that I can so that her things could happen. And I also felt comfortable because it was flowing. But that's the moment when I realized, okay, it doesn't matter, like, of course, we have a team there. We also had costs. It's not that we didn't, even if it's a low budget, we still have costs. So you still have to think about this. So there's still a production aspect. But what actually matters is, the product that we're going to do, and that the director feels confident that she can, express herself in a right way. And it ended up, we did what we wanted to do. We kind of never edited this project, unfortunately, but it was for me like in this own small scale. It was
but the goal is the journey.
Yeah.
Because after that, as you said, you have this breakthrough and you learn so much from it.
Exactly.
Even if it was not edited or posted anywhere.
Yeah.
But I can understand that before that moment, when I also come from the idea that if you can plan it, you can fix it. But you didn't have any plan, so you didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
How do you feel, and how was your communication with the director at that point when you said, like, I don't know what to do?
I literally told her, I don't know what you want me to do to help you. And she kept on saying words that I was not understanding, like, I don't know, talking about flow of consciousness. And I don't know, I don't remember the terms that she used, but it was very like cryptic for me. We were not speaking the same language, not at all. Like it was just like she was saying something and I was looking at her like, I need a script, I need something. And then it kind of clicked, because how can I don't even know how I can explain. And what I think I remember waking up very early in the morning and being the first up and kind of preparing, because we had like I was the one organizing the corner for the makeup and the corner for the breakfast, because we were a crew living together in the forest. So I was kind of doing a bit of everything. And I also realized that we were all there because of her, because of this director. So if she's not happy, if she doesn't feel comfortable, nobody's going to be comfortable. So I guess that's going to come to like another of the things we wanted to talk about is hierarchy. It's not really a hierarchy, because it's not about who's the boss. It's about the hierarchy of priorities in this case. Like I really thought, okay, the priority for me as an assistant director is that my director feels comfortable, and I need to make sure that she gets everything she wants in a way, and then it's going to ripple on the rest of the team, and they're also going to feel comfortable if she feels comfortable, even if sometimes it's weird. And like, of course, as a makeup artist, you want to know beforehand what you're going to do, because what
you need to know.
You need to know. So, but eventually everything fell into place and everybody learned to be in this rhythm, because that's the thing. As an assistant director, you kind of set up the rhythm, and I feel like it comes first from the director, and then if you kind of communicate this way of working and flowing, then everybody's gonna get into this groove and accept it. And it's really different from one director to another, like the flow. Some directors are very precise and give you a shot list the days before, like a floor plan, and you know exactly where the camera is going to be, and you know exactly what color the actors are going to wear, and it's so like specific, and it's usually the easiest, because if it's planned before, then you don't have much to think about. But I feel like for me it's interesting both ways, because if a director is very organized, then it gives you time to think about other things. Like, I don't know, like you can kind of do your setup, you lose less time, and maybe you can do more. If the director is more chaotic, you're going to do less, and then you plan also, like you plan more time, because it is what it is. But you also need to know, okay, is it possible in terms of production? Like, do we have enough money to make this film happen? So, yeah.
That is something really interesting, because also during the pandemic, I work in different projects, and some with German directors and 2 big movies with American directors. And it was a totally difference on the way that people interact to each other. You've been working with different crews from different countries. What's been your experience on it?
Well, I mean,
on the communication level, because I'm going to give you an example. I remember that there was this German director that he was not even talking to the extras or to other people, only to the first assistant. And the American, he was so friendly and so nice with everyone.
I think I was an exception, because on some American shows, if the director speaks with the extras, it can mean that the extras gets paid more. So, so it's actually my experience on American shows is that exactly the opposite of what you said. So that the director will never speak with the extras, and that the first or the third will be the one doing so, because the moment the director speaks to you, that makes you special, and that gives you more money. So
okay, I didn't know. On this production that we were like 200 extras, and I filmed here in Kraftwerk, long hours in the middle of the night, and then he was kind of like all the time like, man, you're all so you just do what we tell you to do. This is so amazing. This is not happening on the States. So you're amazing. He was like really like, you're so good. And we felt like, oh, we're special.
Yeah. No, but that's a very good thing to do, because it's also very important how the extras feel. Because obviously, if you have like 5 days of night shoot, you have to make sure that your extras come back. Otherwise, they can also kind of ruin the movie if they don't. So that's actually pretty smart. But yeah, okay, I know what you mean. Like, so a director speaking to all of the extras.
Yeah. No, not as actors, but more in the motivational point of view.
I mean, I've seen all of it. Like, I think usually the Americans, especially on the big budget, there's this hierarchy is really like specific, and usually they don't mix. Like there is this thing that the director speaks to the first AD, and the first AD speaks to the third, and the third is the one talking to the crew. And sometimes it's like you have a triangle. So you have the director, the first AD, and the DPs, director of photography. And this triangle is like they speak together, they stick together. You also have the producer who can sometimes come into the mix. But this is like the core. And then, they input like their orders and information of, okay, that's what we want to do, and then everybody has to kind of organize around, and that's the first kind of like spreading information, and then the third spreading even more. So my experience is indeed on smaller projects, you have, first of all, you have less ADs. You don't have 3, you have 1, sometimes 2. So it's kind of like everybody's kind of on the same level. Which can sometimes work better, but sometimes also not, because the good thing with the American thing is like if you have a well-oiled machine and everybody's like, sharing information as they should, it can work really smoothly. But it can also be that if you have like a more of a flat hierarchy, that it's sometimes really hard to move forward because kind of everybody's kind of have their own input and nobody is moving forward and saying what actually should be done. So I'm trying to think about an example. I mean, what I do like with American or big production is that, yeah, it's like the top is giving the instructions and you just have to do. With small production, sometimes you do have to like fight with egos, and I feel like it's way more work for me, at least, to be on those smaller projects because you have way more egos to manage, at least on my level, on my scale. Obviously, it's because I'm then first AD, but
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I think that in general, when I see more conflict, again, it's about the ego. And when do you have a bigger ego? When you feel insecure about yourself, when your position is also not that strong. That's why, for example, with big actors, big musicians, the higher they are, the easier they flow, because they don't need to prove anything.
Yeah.
So this is like the chihuahuas. And they're like super loud. Why? Because otherwise you're gonna step onto them. And I had situations like that. That the smallest ones are the ones that make more noise.
Yes.
What are the conflict points that you see? Let's make the separation between big and small production. On the big productions, where do you see the conflict points?
The conflict points. I mean, the conflict points. I mean, there are like
the point that maybe a direction says like you're fired.
I mean, usually, it did happen that, I don't know. For example, I worked on a show where the director was not happy with the director of photography, or like no, that's not true. Not with the director of photography. He was not happy with one of the camera operator, which is the one holding the camera. We had maybe 3, and one of them, I don't know. He was just not happy with him. I think it's also because he had somebody else in mind that he wanted to have, and the production imposed it on him. And this happened often on big production, that you're hired for a job, especially if you're in Germany. You're hired because you're local, but then the American crew comes with some of their crew, and then they actually want their people to be there, but they didn't have a say in this. So it happens that they kind of like create conflict to, make this happen. So if you do any mistake, then you're out. This definitely happened. I've seen it happening, and this is like, in those moments, to be honest, I don't have a solution on what it is to do. You're just like, if you're under the fire, you usually go, and that's what happens. But as a personal thing, you have to know that it's like, it's not personal. It's just like you were like in the wrong place in the wrong time. But okay, that's maybe not what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Because it's not solving the problem. But I mean,
I'm gonna give you an example. Maybe I help you. There was in this big production. It was also during COVID, and of course that we need to have the PCR. I can't even remember the PCR test, and then every day another Schnell test, and then we need to have the mask all the time. It was big American production, big actors, 200 extras plus tents plus. And we have what we call the Maskepolizei. That's someone that was like, don't take out your mask. And it was only during the shooting that we can take it out.
Yeah.
But he was treating us so bad that from the 200 that we were at the beginning, the first day already 60 quit.
God.
Also, they were giving us like camping food. It was like all noodles with tomato sauce, with nothing. They was treating us horrible. And that happened the first day. And then it was like a big conflict between the American production and the Germans. So it's like, man, you cannot treat people like that. And then the main actor, around 4 a.m, he bought pizza for all of us.
That's
and it was paid by the main actor. And then there was like a big conflict point between the two crews. It's like, man, if you keep on treating people like this, tomorrow we're not going to have any more extras. We need 200 every day. So that was the point that just if you treat each other better or you treat the extras better, people are gonna hold, they're gonna stay there, because what I always say, it's in some jobs the big motivation is money, but in places that you put your creativity, your heart, and your soul, it's passion. You do things because they're fun, they're nice, you want to do them. And then if they don't treat you well, everything collapses.
Yeah.
So that's one example.
Yeah, that's a good example. I mean, but this is actually a production thing. And it's true that I've seen that when, I mean, it's also through the ADs, like because as a third AD or as a crowd AD, you're the one who received the extras in the day. And it's true that everything, like the way you talk to the people and the way you bring, a good mood. And then if you just like treat them like humans and make sure that, they get fed and they get, like a smile in the morning, that's super important. But it's true that usually on the big productions, sometimes they like to cut the budget on stuff that they don't think are so important, like catering for extras. And it's true that I've seen it happen often that, the extras are not coming back. And I think the problem is sometimes the people who are actually making those decisions on where to allocate, the food or how much we give to the extras, etc., is they're so high in the hierarchy that they don't even come to the set and they don't even know. So it did happen that that people were not given those good conditions, and then as a third, you're kind of dealing with this, and you have to still, make the extras happy in a way, even though the food is shit and even though it's cold outside and they have to be outside all the time. So I feel like as a small person in this whole production, it was also one of my jobs to make sure that people still feel welcome and still feel happy. But it's really difficult if you don't have the good conditions. But I feel like in terms of creating a good mood, it's a very important thing, but obviously the production is also very important. So I don't know.
And as a third idea, do you have a say on that? It's like, if we keep on doing this, the extras are going to leave.
I can report it.
Yeah.
I can report it, but I cannot. I'm not the one making any decision, unfortunately. So it's been difficult. I mean, it happens all the time, honestly. It's like you see the conditions, and I think also sometimes it feels like people don't think ahead, or like it's also sometimes also for the AD team to communicate. Okay, we know on this day it's going to be cold, so they need to talk to costume and say, okay, we need blankets for all the extras, for example. If we don't think about it, it can also be our fault, but also it can be the production saying, I'm not going to pay 200 blankets for the extras. It's out of the budget. So then you have to kind of manage, like, okay, how can we make it better? So if we cannot have the blankets, can we make sure that we have a room that's close to the set? Can you make sure that the director knows that they're going to have breaks in these warm rooms because they cannot stay all night outside, for example? So it's all about balancing, like you don't get that, but maybe you get that. And it's like, it's all about being smart about it, but you definitely have to think about it ahead. If you don't, then you arrive on the set, the extras are cold with like their small costume, no blankets, no room, nothing. And then obviously they're going to be sick and not come back the day after. So, I mean, that's the only thing I can do. I can just think about, I can think ahead of like, oh, maybe we should think about this, but I cannot make, at my level, at least for now, I cannot make a real difference, unfortunately.
But that is perfect, because on the friction department, when I created a framework, the first step is called sound check, because it's the first thing that you do in the morning. You talk about what are the conflict points that might appear and what can we do about it. And then you can plan. And then you know that, okay, so here we might have a spark. So let's think in advance. And that's what it takes us to that plan B. That plan B of that preparation. You're going through all these kind of things. And is the crew really open to these kind of things that you bring to the table? Or, for example, when there's a situation like with the extras, and they say like, yeah, all these extras, they didn't come back. In this country, nobody works because they don't want. Is that mentality, or there's a retrospective of maybe we did something wrong?
That's usually how it is. Like something bad kind of needs to happen, and then that's after the bad thing happened. Like 60 extras didn't come. That that the production actually realized, oh, this was actually important. We had to listen to them. So it did happen that after losing extras, the production decided, okay, we might, I don't know, pay pizzas for everybody, or hire a coffee truck that everybody can get nice coffee.
Yeah.
It also happened that, I don't know, on a production where I worked, where an actress kind of like worked less days that she was supposed to, and this had a big impact on the schedule. And because of that, we had to work weekends. Not the extras, just the whole crew. This was really hard on us. And the way they made us happy was hire a coffee truck or give us donuts. And the actress also gave us a hug at the end of the production.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the hug was maybe not the best thing, but that's how they deal with it sometimes.
But it's perfect. It's to give something tangible. I'm gonna tell you a story. Many years ago, I had a breakfast delivery company that it was just to give you a present on your birthday. And I had the idea, how can we give tangibility? How can we touch a feeling? And then on the form, it was at the end, do you want to add a free hug at the delivery? And people were writing yes.
That's so cute.
And then I was going to random people. I was like, you know what? Here I have my form. And here says that I had to give you a hug. And I'm going to give you a hug. And today is going to be the best day of the year. And it's your birthday. And this is like the hug from someone else that is there. So many people started crying in front of me.
Wow.
Crying literally like oceans. Well, not oceans, but lakes of tears. Because maybe a relative that is in Nigeria, China, Germany, whatever, and sends a present for your birthday. And that's the way that you feel it. Even when it's a random person, when it's a stranger, that hug gives, for 2 milliseconds, you close your eyes and you believe that is that person that you love that is giving you a hug, that is making you feel, okay, I'm here. That person thought about me. It's not about the money, it's not about the present, it's, I'm here. And I think that what you said with the extras, it's the same. At the moment that they give you a hug, nobody asks anyone to give a hug like by contract. When they do it, it's because they feel it. And they feel it at the moment that they believe that you deserve it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I think that's a very beautiful example. Yeah. I mean, yeah, sometimes a coffee feels like a hug, So if the production makes sure that you get good coffee, I remember like all the days when we had the coffee truck was those good days. And then I know I would give more of myself because, it's a small gesture, but it's something. But you also have to think, at least on big production, that sometimes, especially if, I don't know, the coffee truck is there every 2 weeks, I'm kind of expecting it and taking it for granted. If the shoot is going worse and worse and worse, the coffee is not going to cut it. So it's also, I think, in terms of for your creative team or for your crew in general, it's good to give present. It's good to give things, but you also have to go to the root of the problems and be open to what are the complaints. Why is it not going? Like, why are people unhappy to go to work in the morning? If the production is 6 months and then the same problems happen over again and again and again, like, what can we do to fix them? And it's true that something that does happen on bigger production is you can lose touch with the crew when there is a big crew, and you can lose touch of, small details. Like, for example, you work in a studio and the heating is not working. Obviously, the actors are going to get their small heating and they're going to be warm, and it's going to be, you want the actors to be happy because, you cannot do the movie without them. But what about the crew? What about if they are cold? You cannot put a heating, in the whole building all the time because it makes noise. But you can think about heating the studio before everybody arrives, and then it stays warm the whole day. And those are like details. It's like, it's for the location team to think about, but it's also for the production to pay for the heating and, agree that, it's an important topic. It's a small detail, but it's important.
Yeah.
And it's all about like listening and fixing little problems like this. But I think it's like what's difficult on those bigger projects and with a higher hierarchy is that there's like a lot of people, is way more people dealing with all those little problems. So often what the problem is also that we don't know whose job it is to fix this. It's the job of
there we go. Roles.
Yeah. It's a big one. It's a big one because it's like there are so many people so that you don't know anymore who's actually supposed to do what. So that's maybe the thing that changes from small production to big production. Whose job is this? You know, is it the third AD?
And what do they do?
Manager? Well, I feel like often there's a standstill for like a week of like, oh, but you know, this is happening. This is not our job. I think usually what helps solving the problem is that people talking to each other and just making the decision. Okay, I mean, I don't know if it's my job to do it, but I'm still going to do it and make sure it happens. And I'm going to step in and just like make sure this problem is fixed. So make sure that.
But that happens when the problem already appear.
Yeah.
Something that I think it's to make this kind of dissection of issues, and then everybody takes responsibility for one thing or the other. And I believe that you can plan that. And that's what it takes us to the retrospective. Normally the retro is happening after the event, but I believe that it should happen in every little step, so then you can adjust, you can tune.
Yeah. Like doing a round of feedbacks at the end of the day.
Yeah, but exactly. But at the moment that the situation happens, not at the end, because at the end there's nothing to fix. Yeah. How do you do it? For example, with this, it's always that there's a problem that occurs and people take responsibility, or they plan in advance, okay, this might happen or that might happen.
I mean, to plan it ahead is always the best. It's like there's nothing better than planning ahead. It's like really the job of ADs and production to plan ahead. But it's not possible to do it every time. And I think people don't like to take blame, especially in big productions, because taking blame means because of you, we lost that amount of money. So people don't usually do that. That's why it's like often like stuck. But I think what is kind of important is to make sure that meetings happen, even though like the days are really big and really stressful. A good first AD would make sure that, we do a meeting at lunch and we talk about the problems. We talk about what happened, what's happening and what could happen. And I think that production that were the smoothest were when a lot of meetings happened, and you could really feel the difference because, people would think ahead, and you had always for us on set, the logistical part is usually the biggest because everything creative kind of like happens in the prep, and then of course it can happen with the flow, but it's really hard to improvise when you have so many people around you and so many criterias that needs to be changed on the go. So I feel like if the logistic is thought through and agile and can adapt to problems that can happen, then the creative can fix itself maybe. But you definitely have to address the problem as they go. And I don't know how it translates on a festival situation, but on a film team, we were about like, okay, there's a problem, we need to fix it immediately. That's how.
But on festival, nightclubs, on creative crews in general, you need to fix it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the festival, it's for.
You need to fix it yesterday, basically.
Always.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Always it's yesterday.
Yeah.
Because in 2 days everything's over.
Yeah.
Same thing with the day on a production. We're talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but that's always the problem. It's like how big is this problem? Like, is it a problem that's going to affect just a few people and it's not that bad because do we care about those people, or is it a problem that's gonna it's like start small and then can get bigger? And there's also this thing, for example, like taking your example of the extras, something that happens a lot. You shooting a movie outside and you have daylight, and the daylight obviously is decreasing with the day going by, and the extras are very tired, and you ask them to do the scene again and again and again and again, and at some point they're so tired that they're not good anymore and they need a break. Do you give them the break and then take the risk of losing daylight, or do you not give them a break and then, it's going on? So you have to kind of manage, okay, what is important here?
And what do they normally do?
Well, usually they don't give the break.
Of course not.
Usually they don't. And then the
extras are just numbers.
Exactly. But actually, on the good production,
yes,
maybe they think ahead of like, okay, I'm going to give them a break now, not at the end of the day. I'm going to give them the break in the middle of the day.
Of course.
I'm going to make sure that they eat good, and I'm going to make sure that, they have this maybe 5 minutes of extra time, or I'm going to, make sure like maybe half of the extra get the break, and because I can shoot this.
Then the other half, yeah.
And then the other half gets the break. But sometimes they don't think about that. And this is usually when it goes smooth and when the extras feel taken care of. It's like just small adjustments that are huge for the whole team. So sometimes it's about, just think about your day ahead and then see like, how can I help people feel better for the whole thing to run smoothly? It's like maybe details, but it's really important.
I've been in both sides because I used to work with a friend that he was part of the art department in some movies. So I've been to both sides. And I heard from the extra side comparison and then from the production side. And from the production side, something that I heard a couple of times is like, just bring them. It's like, we're even paying them for doing nothing. That's the conception. They just need to sit there and to do that. And that's it. So just bring them. And I've been to both sides, and also some extras, they heard that. And that totally changed the mood because extras, at the moment we have time, what it means that you can talk to each other, and gossips are everywhere. And that can change totally the mood of that. Is there a way to, I don't want to say to fix it, but just to make things smooth?
Like, first of all, keep directors away from extras because they are usually the one who gets angry, or even the first ADs. I think it's always the same. That's why we have like so many people working on a movie set, is that, like if I'm the one talking to the extras, I have to speak good with the extras, and it's my job. Even if there is pressure, if I start talking back to you, it's not going to happen. So I think often like directors and DPs are frustrated that, it doesn't go fast enough. Like you have 300 people, they all need to go a bit more to the right. Why are they not all going to the right? Well, it's because it's 300 people and it takes time. And sometimes it happened to me that the director would just run in and be like, you don't know how to do it. Just like, everybody moves to the right. And then nobody moves because, they're not focused on you. They're not like, so actually what's actually a good thing to do is, first of all, you have to win the trust of the extras. So maybe it goes through just like, making a joke in the morning. Like you arrive, you introduce yourself, you make sure everybody knows who you are and what you do. And then you make them feel comfortable by, I don't know, make them relate to you. Like make them feel that we are in this together. I'm not more important than you. You're not, you are more important than me because you're making the movie. You are the one who's going to be in front of the camera. So make sure that they feel appreciated. And then, once they feel appreciated, maybe they will, be more eager to help you. So I think that's the detail. And it happened to me that on days when it was just so stressful that you don't even have this 5 minutes. They're not planned in the planning that you have the 5 minutes to talk to the extras because it's so tight, because we have so many of them. It's just going to be like bam, 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 bam. Those are for me the one that didn't go good. I can definitely tell, like, if those 5 minutes were not planned, the whole day is going to be fucked. Yep. So I think just hierarchy or not, I think it's important to always make the person you're working with appreciated. That's like a basic, like simple human right. And that's maybe what also goes wrong sometimes with productions in general. Like, the very small PA to the first AD. If you're talking bad, or if you're just like, making people feel small and little, they're not going to do their job good. Even if this person is just bringing you your coffee, if this person feels appreciated, and if you just say thank you, and if you just, acknowledge that they are doing a good job, they're going to keep on doing this good job. And, they're going to think ahead. They're going to think for you. They're going to help you. And everybody in their own way is going to make, the team work. So I think it's a basic thing to say, but it's really true. I really see the difference on production where everybody treats each other well, whereas people don't.
You know that the last question of this podcast is always, what can you do to make things better? but you just told me everything.
Great.
So then, Ellen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for it.
It's been actually amazing. And it's already 45 minutes and it went super fast.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And for all of you, I'm Chris Burstein here from Launch Lab Studios in the heart of Berlin. See you next time. Most content creators hide the mess. We are not. We're real, we're transparent, and we are free. In order to keep on doing this, please subscribe, follow. It's nothing for you, just one click, and it really helps us.